Welcome to Inland Edition, where this season we're having conversations with people who represent nonprofit organizations working to make the Inland Empire a better place. My name is Joe Richardson. I'm a local attorney, Inland Empire resident, and your host. And today we're going to chat with Molly Whitcomb, Girls on the Run, Riverside. Girls on the Run aims to inspire girls to be joyful, healthy, and confident by using a fun, experience-based curriculum that creatively integrates running. The organization's trained coaches use physical activity and dynamic discussion to build social, emotional, and physical skills, as well as healthy life habits. With a career spanning 3 decades in education, development, and social services, Molly Whitcomb is known for motivating teams to work towards significant causes. As the council director for Girls on the Run, she oversees community volunteer coaches and manages new programs, including the seasonal 5K runs. Let's meet her and learn more about how Girls on the Run is impacting our Inland Empire youth. So, from Girls on the Run Riverside, I am happy to be with Molly Whitcomb, the council director, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I already know you have great taste in workout places. That's an inside joke. I want to talk a little bit about your process in terms of, is there an aha moment for you that gets you on the path of public service? You're doing something you're incredibly passionate about. We're totally going to get into that, but tell us how you got on this path.
Yeah, so that's a great question, Joe, and thank you for asking it right out of the gate. So really for me, I was involved in higher ed, development work, fundraising, loved that up until the moment I didn't. And my aha moment came when I was not feeling so physically well myself and really wanted to make a change personally.
Right.
As I was doing that, I realized it was affecting me mentally in a very positive way,
Right.
and that perhaps I could make a career change after my midlife, I'll say.
Right.
And so, yeah, I really was seeking out something very, very different from what I had done before, and I took an intentional break from work for several months. I went on a running retreat with a bunch of women, and as we were running, several of them were talking about Girls on the Run.
Really?
I had never heard of it. They were from the East Coast. So I got home and I looked it up and found out that we had it right here in the Inland Empire. And so I reached out and said, how can I get involved?
Unbelievable. So tell us about the mission of the organization. There's some great things here, but I want you to jump into that however you want to jump into it.
Yeah, sure. So at Girls on the Run Riverside, our mission is simply to inspire girls to be joyful, healthy, and confident.
Right.
And
Wow.
that's it. And we do it through our programs. We have 3 different programs. But really, we're teaching the girls about being joyful and confident in themselves in a healthy way. So giving them those social, emotional skills that they need to as they grow through life. And then also physically, bringing them to a place where they feel good about themselves. We're playing a lot. We're doing activities that just get them moving out in the sunshine, and they just feel really good.
Now, there's a Girls on the Run International. So talk about the connection between international and local. Sometimes in these places that have a lot of branches, are you guys all your own separate 501c3s? Are you part of the mothership? Or how does that go?
Yeah. Well, great question, too, because Girls on the Run International was started by a mom, of course, back almost 30 years ago. She was just running with her daughter, who was a teenager at the time, and she realized they were opening up a lot of conversations between mother and daughter that maybe they wouldn't have if they weren't outdoors exercising. So then a few friends started to join in this group, and they would sit under a tree afterwards. And the founder of Girls on the Run then said, I think this is a thing. So she created the original program and the curriculum that we know today. So we have councils. There are 166 councils across the United States and Canada now.
166.
So we are in every state. And Girls on the Run Riverside was started because the international organization did some market research and looked and said, you know, this Inland Empire in California, there's a need there.
Right.
There's a lot of people who live there, a lot of girls. And so that's really how it was started. They reached out to some local people, started a board of directors in 2019. We got set to open our proverbial doors in March of 2020.
Wow.
Yeah.
So hold that thought. Let me
Yes,
ask you this though
yes.
really fast. I'm cheating a little bit here.
Okay.
The life skills that you guys seek to instill, I like this because they all started with the same letter. Confidence, character, care, connections, and competence.
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
Sure. So, you know, our curriculum is intentionally designed. What I love about it is that it's continually being tested and piloted and researched. In fact, we're really excited. We're going to be starting up with a new curriculum this fall. But every curriculum that we use, whether it's for the girls 3rd through 5th grade or the older girls 6th through 8th, is designed to help them be confident, to help them learn about caring for each other. Some of the lessons might be, how do you show empathy for somebody else? And as we're moving our bodies, and maybe we're playing freeze tag, the girls might be tagged by a coach and they cannot move their bodies until another participant comes over and gives them a positive statement to say, you know, I appreciate you because you're funny. Okay, and then that girl gets unfrozen and she has that confidence, and then she goes to the next girl. So, you know, for the younger girls, 3rd through 5th graders, very concrete examples we're giving them. The older girls, it gets pretty deep. We're talking a little bit more about how their relationships might grow, interpersonally, with family, with friends, with potential romantic partners. We do delve into that a little bit with the older girls, but really giving them that confidence to know that they can speak up for themselves and each other. They can show empathy in a variety of ways. And maybe that's, you know, helping somebody who's having a hard time at school. So we're constantly asking them for their own real life examples, and then we're giving them scenarios while we're running laps or playing games.
For your experience, would you say, I mean, it sounds like to me, this is a theme. You know, this whole series has been nonprofits. And one of the things that seems to kind of ring true is this whole idea that we're in the Inland Empire, this huge metropolitan area of its own.
Yeah.
And we just don't get the love with the resources following.
Yeah.
You know, your organization, International, did the research and saw, whoa, here's a growth area where we need to be. LA 84 is called LA 84. You know what I mean? It's not called San Bernardino 84,
Yeah.
right? And now they're going in your area. Do you find that there's still this piece of the earth that a lot of folks just aren't, particularly as it pertains to nonprofit fundraising dollars, that they don't quite get? You know, it's like a place that they drive through like nobody's here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From a resource standpoint, like there are no needs, but there's so much growth, there's so much everything. And that would clearly indicate a program like yours would grow,
Sure.
would be necessary, you know, would be in demand. I mean, I'm sure that's been your experience.
It is, and I'm really happy to say I do feel like that has changed.
Right,
That
yeah.
it is changing. We're getting a little bit more notice. And I was talking with somebody recently about when you're a small nonprofit and you go to apply for a grant and they say, well, who else is supporting you? Well, nobody, because we're brand new.
Right, sure.
They want to see who's supporting. Now that we have a little bit of support from these school districts, then other places, other foundations are saying, okay, we'll support you. So I do feel like that's changing a little bit, but we have to be really good stewards of what we're being given.
Right, for sure.
And, you know, making sure, I mean, everybody asks, you know, how much of your, you know, money goes directly to the clients you serve? 100%.
Right.
You know, because we don't have an office location.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know, we're very lean on our staff. We rely on volunteers. We have about 300 volunteers.
Oh my gosh! Wow. That's amazing.
So each season, about 60 of those volunteers become full-time coaches. And when I say full-time, they're twice a week for the 8 weeks.
Right.
But these people are usually working other jobs. They might be
Sure.
teachers, so they're available after school. maybe they're college students, maybe they're retired people. But our volunteers, when we look at the national and then the California rate for a volunteer, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, what a volunteer is worth.
Okay, right.
We actually are saving about $256,000 a year because of all the time that our volunteers give us.
Wow, that's amazing.
So we couldn't do it. So the money that we do get goes to training those volunteers. I have a storage unit with all sorts of little tiny shoes for girls who need them because we'll always provide shoes or other, sports athletic wear that they might need. We do purchase the curriculum from the national organization. Each team gets a bag filled with cones and strings and balloons and whatever the lessons require, we pack those all up. We provide them for the coaches. So there is a cost to doing business. And so, every dollar we raise does go into the program.
Okay, so tell us a little bit more about Heart and Soul.
Yeah, so Heart and Soul works off of a model that we call the Girl Wheel. And the Girl Wheel has all the aspects of a person's physical health, their mental health, their social and emotional. And so each lesson is tailored to those specific topics. At the end of our Girls on the Run program, the last 3 lessons, the coaches take a step back and the girls themselves have to brainstorm, plan, and implement what we call the Community Impact Project.
Right.
And it's a service project that they decide. That's one of our 5 C's, is they're gonna care for their community, okay? So they might do something like take chalk and write inspirational messages around their school grounds. They have to get permission, of course.
Right.
They have decided, there was one team out in the desert that one of their coaches was a special needs teacher, and she must have said more than once, oh, my special needs classroom doesn't have enough books or games. So they did a book and a toy drive for the special needs students at their school. That's what the girls decided to do.
Right, yeah.
So it's really powerful to us at Girls on the Run that we bring these girls in. They're individuals. They maybe don't have a lot of confidence. They, learn those skills. They become a team, and then they have to hash this out, And so watching them use all the skills that we've given them throughout the season to then say, this is how we want to give back to our community,
Right.
is really powerful.
So give us the 13,000-foot view of the programs themselves. Here are our programs.
Sure. So Girls on the Run is the name of the organization.
Right.
Girls on the Run is also the name of the program. We shorten it and we say GOATer. If you're a GOATer girl, you are in our 3rd to 5th grade program.
Right.
Our Heart and Soul program serves the girls 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Okay.
And then our Camp GOATer program is a 1-week half-day summer camp, where the girls, instead of preparing for a 5K like the other 2 programs, the girls are working on storytelling, building, and arts and crafts. So their culminating activity at the end of that week is a gallery walk. They have to curate their own items that they've made throughout the week, all sorts of great things. And then their friends and family walk through, and they have to maybe say something about why they chose that particular piece of art, how they wrote their story. And so again, we're giving them the confidence.
Okay, and speaking of which, let's talk to a participant, a coach, and a caregiver from Girls on the Run.
My name is Zoe, and I'm part of Girls on the Run. My name is Emerson, and I'm in Girls on the Run.
I'm Marlene Dimas. I am here as a coach for Girls on the Run.
I'm Naya, and I'm with Girls on the Run.
My name is Metzli Treto. I'm with Girls on the Run. I'm one of the head coaches.
My name is Audrey Lehman, and I'm part of the Girls on the Run camp.
I'm Ashley Lehman. I am a teacher at Pachapa Elementary. I teach 3rd grade, but I was also a coach this last year in the fall and the spring season.
My name is Eliana, and Girls on the Run is based on running and learning about friendship. The coaches, they're nice, they're helpful, they love doing things for us.
We'll do fun games. We'll do activities where we teach them about creating friendship, creating good communication with others.
My favorite thing is activities because it's fun and I can get my energy in. My favorite thing is that I could actually express myself without being laughed at. I like to run. It just boosts my energy and my confidence. We do games, workshop, arts and crafts, buildings.
Sometimes we do like obstacles. We play tag.
I've run the 1K for 5th grade.
I just loved getting to connect with the girls, and really last year I did it, a lot of 3rd graders did it, so that was the grade I taught. So I was able to connect with a lot of those girls.
The first 2 days, the girls are a little shy, but throughout the end of the week, they get very comfortable, and you really see the progress they've made just in a little week of teaching them the communication skills and the friendship skills.
It's mostly like not friends, but like hanging out and then you become their friends. At the end of the day, we do compliments. So we write on a piece of letter and like they give us a name to compliment to people to make them feel better.
I have my friends here.
We saw a lot of social and emotional growth with bonding and community building and friendship, and across grade levels, actually. The 3rd graders didn't just hang out with the 3rd graders, they hung out with kids older, and the girls got along and really had a great time. The runs were great. Like the 5K was so fun.
I did 2 5Ks. It was actually really cool because they had water stands for us when we want to get dehydrated. And like it started off because we could run with our friends and we could do things that we actually enjoy. I've been to 2 Girls on the Runs. Inside is good, but it's just we do a lot of activities and it's good fresh air. We get to run, we enjoy the air, and then we like run around and stuff. Like more games outside than being on our lecture.
So I'm a part of the CBU Sports and Performance Psychology program. I think I really resonate working with youth especially, but girls. I coach a girls soccer team, and so I really just wanted to implement a lot of what I do in my own coaching career into this, and I really enjoyed what they stood for, Girls on the Run. I really liked the social development aspect of it. It's really important to have that, especially at that young of an age.
I've come here and I'm meeting new people. This girl named Rose, she's really nice, but she is experiencing some bullying, so I'm helping her through that. We talk about heart. It's about making friends.
So definitely socially, when it comes to making friends, there's a lot of different aspects that we need to learn, especially when it comes to it. So I really enjoy that there's really simplified versions of that. So they have the HEART acronym, and just using that in everyday life. Like you do extend yourself and you do pick your head up in order to discuss and have conversations with people, and teaching that at a very young age and in the simplest form possible is probably the best way to socially develop them in later life so they can do that. And even during interviews, you really need to have that those skills to succeed later in life. So I think that's an awesome part of what Girls on the Run does.
I think other girls might like Girls on the Run because if they have friend troubles, they could probably like talk about it, and you play a lot of games and stuff. So, and the people here are really nice. So
I think your child should check out Girls on the Run because it grows them not only physically, but social emotionally, and they'll make great friends and create great bonds with the staff that participate. And so I really think that every girl should do this program.
So tell me about you guys' metric for success in terms of, hey, we've served X number of people. When they graduate, they can do X or Y or Z. How do you know that you've done what you've set out to do?
Yeah. So really the international organization has an entire research team that is working on that all the time. The reason we start with 3rd grade is the research shows that girls' confidence really starts to go down at about 3rd grade. Up till 2nd grade, they're raising their hand, they're answering questions in class, and then there's a dramatic change. So the research is showing that yes, the girls in our program, because they've been given these skills, are better able to stand up for themselves. We're seeing it here in our local programs. We do get a lot of funding through the schools that comes through the state expanded learning opportunity funding that was established to, after COVID, help bridge that gap because so many students were lacking. They missed those, just going to school, getting up every day, talking to other people. So, those data points are coming, but we're seeing them anecdotally.
So tell me the hardest part about what you do.
I really like that question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you probably don't even know where to start with it, right?
Yeah. I think the hardest part is that I want us to be here,
Right,
and
for
we're here.
sure,
You know,
for sure.
so really just that patience of we're going to build a program in one community, do it well, and then replicate it in another community.
Right.
Because in terms of resources, there's all sorts of funding that comes from the state, the city, even the county. We just recently got a county supervisor gave us some funding to expand in one part of the county. So I think just being strategic
Yeah.
and planning out and then really making sure that we're serving that community.
Right.
One of the things that Girls on the Run International has been very focused on is making sure that our staff and our coaches mirror the communities that we're in.
Right, sure.
So I need to do a lot of work in the communities we're not serving yet to first bring up who are going to be those volunteers. So they've got to be the community members and really working hard. And that's why we go out and we do events in communities. We might do a health fair or another 5K so that we can get to know the community. Runners in particular do love our program. They always stop by after they're on the high of running their race and say, how can I get involved? You do not have to be a runner to be a volunteer for Girls on the Run. You do not have to be a female either.
Right.
So while we do serve girls, our volunteer program is very diverse.
So look in the window for us. And I think what you guys do is so important, first of all, not only for the self-esteem of girls that will become young ladies and women, et cetera, but for their mental health, physical health, all of these dots that you connect, all of these boxes that you check, with an increasingly pressurized society, so much on us, people that have to balance all of the expectations that they have related to life. Look around the corner for us and let us know where we're going and how Girls on the Run can help us in terms of, you kind of have to foresee the future a little bit because you want to help equip them. You want to help give them the skills that they can take and apply to something else. But give us some of the looking glass and the prediction that really helps to inform what you guys do now.
Sure. Well, I'll start with my personal journey into running, which really was a mental journey for me.
Okay.
I knew I needed to do something different.
Right.
When I look at the girls who come through our programs, some of them come and they, don't look up and their hair is down in their face. And they want to have a cell phone with them. If the parents allow it and they have the cell phone, we put them all away.
Right.
What I see for the future is that girls who go through our program, they don't even bring the cell phone, or they're not even worried about that. They would much prefer to be outside playing with their friends, having a good time, than worried about what they're missing out on in, a world that isn't really reality.
Right.
So that would be my goal. And I think as we look forward, and especially because we're going to have the Olympics in our backyard again
That's
here in a
right.
few years,
Yeah.
this whole idea of play equity. It doesn't have to be sport. We're not competitive.
Right.
We don't ever time the girls or, we have them keep track of their laps only because that helps them set goals.
Right.
Wow,
yeah.
So the goal setting, and then just, I really hope we get to, maybe it's back to a place or maybe it's to a brand new place where kids are encouraged to play and they enjoy it, and then they bring their families along.
Yes.
One of the great things about our program is we have a caregiver guide that goes home with every family, and it lists out our lessons so that they can talk about it. And then there's also a plan for the caregivers to participate in the 5K. Maybe they start out walking in their neighborhood for 20 minutes.
Right. Wow.
Then they kind of work up. So we give them their own schedule. And so I think, that kids and families together would play in their communities.
Right. Wow. That's wonderful. Tell us how, we're inspired. Assume I'm inspired. Assume the people that are watching us are inspired and they want to get more information. They want to follow up. How do they connect with the organization?
Yeah, so, really just finding us on our website, Girls on the Run Riverside. It's really easy to find. I found it when I was looking for something.
Right on.
And then, really what we're looking for is people who can, give of their time. So again, maybe it's not a coach that's a really big commitment,
Right.
but maybe it's, I'll come over and I'll help you pack up the coach bags.
Right, sure.
We have a volunteer who loves to write thank you notes. So we do get many donors and sponsors of in-kind gifts. Every once in a while, we'll throw it out there on social media. We need a shoe fairy. Our girls are in need of shoes.
Right.
And so people love to, donate shoes or snacks for our programs.
Right.
But yeah, they can just reach out and we can find a place. And, we actually get a lot of volunteers who've come from other parts of the country
Sure.
who know about the program.
Gotcha.
So
they're
that's
looking,
really
they're really
cool.
looking for you for that reason.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So, Molly Willie-Combe, thank you so much for coming and being with us. We appreciate Girls on the Run and all of the things that it's doing, and we wish you great success in the future.
Thank you, Joe. It's been a pleasure to be here.
So once again, another fantastic organization doing great work, changing lives in the Inland Empire. We're glad that you joined us. Make sure you let everybody know to not only watch our episodes at their regular time, but to watch our YouTube. And then you can see not only the episodes, but additional information. So let's keep going down the road together, one conversation at a time. Until then, Joe Richardson for Inland Edition. See you next time.